Bungie is planning to save Matahton. Yes, this is not a joke. Bungie, the company that has most likely less talent than Bethesda at this point, is planning to save Matahton. Why would anyone care about Matahton? No idea. Does anyone actually believe Bungie can do it? No, obviously not. Bungie could not save Destiny 2. Currently, a Chinese mobile game that's literally designed to nickel and dime their audience is doing better than an actual PC game. Bungie could not even save themselves from Sony taking them over. I can't get closer to the camera, but I have more to say. Bungie can't do anything right, and now they're planning to save Matahton? Like, how are they exactly gonna do this? Because, Bungie, as a woke slop company, has absolutely, one, no idea what non-slop looks like. Two, they probably think that the wokeness has nothing to do with this. They probably think that the new genderless, disgusting characters that you play, as where you have to flip a coin to figure out what pronouns to use, because you're still gonna have pronouns, obviously, that they have to figure out how to make the game good, but that's not a problem in their eyes. Even though that's the biggest problem with Matahton. It looks like a fever dream of some woke lunatic artist. Because it most likely is, obviously. So, how the hell is Bungie supposed to save Matahton? Well, they literally need to redesign all the art, all the everything, all the interactions, the whole baseline of the game. Maybe they can keep the existing shooting mechanics. I'm not sure about that, because I didn't play it, neither did you. No one played it in the beta because it looked ass. So, maybe they can keep the shooting mechanics, but at this point, the game is not even out yet. And they would have a better shot at making a good game by just making a literal new game.
So Marathon, it's had a rough year, to put it lightly. Marathon is, of course, the upcoming game from Bungie, the guys behind Halo and Destiny 2, and has undergone its fair share of controversy over the past few months.
God, how absolutely unappealing this is. It's so bland, so tasteless, so safe. This is literally probably the brainchild of... This is woke. This is woke. They're trying to be unoffensive because they probably think that, woke people are gonna play video games. No, they don't. Dragon Age Belgard was the peak support of the woke crowd, and was literally a couple of thousand of players, which was not worth it in the slightest.
From an underwhelming playtest all the way to stolen art assets, going all the way back to the announcement trailer, they've had a rough 2025. And in June, after all this broke, they decided to indefinitely delay Marathon, despite it previously being targeted for September. It would have already come out at this point by the time you're seeing this video, which is crazy.
That is absolutely wild. Imagine Matahton already being out. That's not a world I want to live in.
But they decided to basically indefinitely delay it and work on it until they were ready to share more. And then they went dark, and a few months have passed, but we have now gained new information as to PlayStation's plan to save Marathon. You see, I thought that they were just gonna cut and run. They were gonna bury this, write it off.
That would have been the smart thing to do, yes. Because at this point, it hasn't hit the markets. You can't do a write-off. One thing people don't understand about these tax write-offs is, if you publish the work and people can buy it, doesn't matter, a movie or whatever, there's no write-off. Your losses are your losses. But if you make something and then you're like, well, we made this, but we decide to not publish it because it's ass, then you can get the write-off.
I don't even know what, but I thought there was a pretty decent chance that PlayStation was just going to send this out to die, shut it down, write it off, and move on. I'm not celebrating that or saying I hope that that happens or anything.
I am absolutely celebrating that. Every time fucking woke garbage dumpster fire slop hits the market, and it does so poorly it dies in literally less than a day, That is a win for us, boys. That is a win for the consumers. Because we don't want this. We didn't ask for this. We hate this. We have expressed our opinions so many times that we hate this shit. And what do these companies do? They do nothing. Well, precise, they actually do something. They make more of this shit. We don't want this. Every time something like this gets made and it damages the company, that's a win for the consumers, because there is no better way to tell these people that we don't want this than not buying it, than seeing it fail and then making 15 videos farming that failure, like your boy obviously does. Oh my god, Ghost of Yote, you look so succulent. You look so succulent. Ghost of Yote literally, by the way, has a I am a woman, hear me roar mechanic. Oh god. Oh god, why are you a PlayStation exclusive? Why? Why did you do this to me? Why? I wanted it on every platform so we can track how bad it's doing. Oh no! Bamboo cutting! Bamboo cutting! Oh, pathetic. Oh my god, it's so bad. It's so gloriously, offensively mid. Oh man. And they took it away from us, boys. They took it away from us. But you know what they can't take away from us? Liking the video right now, or hyping it up on a mobile device. It helps me out tremendously. Takes less than a second, and I greatly appreciate it. No, I truly do. Everyone who does that helps me tremendously, and thank you all of you who do that. And especially if you think that the stuff that we talk about here is important and more people should know about this, then definitely like the video and hype it up right now, because every like is 2 more people are gonna see it. That's how it works. So thank you everyone who does it. You honestly do mean a lot. Thank you.
There's a lot of incredibly talented people that work at Bungie on Marathon.
There's not a single talented person who works at Bungie, okay? Bethesda and Bungie could probably compete who has the least talent.
But, I mean, come on, guys. This was rough. But to their credit, they're not cutting and running. They seemingly are doubling down, and they are going to give them more time and resources to try and make Marathon into the success that they initially believed it could be. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you what they plan to do to save it.
Oh boy.
Some of the most shocking and surprising changes. I mean, they've even made certain 180-degree pivots that I never thought they would make. So I'll describe all of that to you.
180? It's not a lot.
And we will leave this video.
No, it's the other direction. So I guess it's fine.
Maybe optimistic, maybe still cynical. I don't know, but we'll go through it. So buckle up. This is going to be interesting because they've been busy this summer. I'll just say that. It's going to be fun. But first, a quick thank you to our sponsor, Incognito. Okay, so Marathon was of course revealed back in 2023 after being rumored for a year or two prior to that. The announcement trailer was so vivid and artistically interesting.
Artistically ass. It was artistic asininery.
That a lot of people were compelled almost solely based on the art direction. Like, you couldn't really make much of the gameplay.
I mean, yeah, we wanted to see what's more of this, but it was already like, why? What's the point of any of this? Like, what the fuck?
Or what was intended just from this trailer, but a lot of people saw the trailer and said, I don't know what this is, but I'm interested, which is kind of the point of an announcement trailer, to make you interested in the world and the universe and want to see more, which is what they accomplished here. However, this was not revealed in a vacuum. Actually, a year before it was announced, Bungie had a few leaks to deal with, specifically from Tom Henderson. In October of 2022, he reported on a bunch of gameplay details.
Okay, what looks better? The marathon we got, or whatever this is, okay? I'm already a lot more sold on whatever this is.
That would prove to be accurate later when Marathon actually had a developer go and confirm a lot of this stuff to Tom Henderson directly in a report that happened in mid-2023. And in that report, they outlined a bunch of information that would end up proving accurate in the final version of Marathon that press and media would get to play in April of 2025. I myself being one of the lucky few who was invited out to Washington to try it for myself. More on that in a minute. But one thing I think is important.
Did he say it's amazing? This is why he's doing This is why he's doing the "Oh, Marathon's coming back, boys" video, so he can get exclusive access again.
To stress is that Marathon was never this like slam dunk idea, and I think that's been twisted up and confused a little bit. A narrative has sort of developed over the last few months after the debacle really kicked off that Marathon was this great idea and concept that kind of was mismanaged and fell apart later due to a couple of big blunders, but that was never really the case. There was always a lot of skepticism around this idea because it was leaked back in 2022 that this was going to be a 3-person team-based extraction shooter. And most of Bungie's fans are like Destiny fans. They like the kind of looter shooter style of gameplay. They're not necessarily big extraction shooter fans. And they also are probably not.
I mean, to be absolutely fair, the difference between an extraction shooter and how Destiny's raids function is almost zero in the grand scheme of things, if you honestly think about it. The biggest difference between how those things function is probably honestly just the name, because you can make them the same thing almost, so that's not a problem.
That big into like heroes, which is something that would eventually come to Marathon. So a lot of their core fan base looked at this very skeptically and were like, this is why Destiny 2 is not getting the love it needs. This is where all the resources are going, really? And it was confused even more because
the typical Destiny fanboy cope, okay? Oh, my game's bad because not because Bungie's bad or clueless or talentless or, you know, complete garbage. It's bad because Destiny fans, so many Destiny fans, honestly, have done this, okay? They have blamed anything they could on the failures of Destiny instead of Bungie. The greatest thing Bungie ever achieved was en masse make people believe that the reason that Destiny is a bad game is because of Activision Blizzard. Not because they themselves are shit, but it somehow was Activision Blizzard's fault. And when Bungie finally bought themselves out of Blizzard, guess what? Nothing became better. It became worse, actually. So there you go.
because later it would be reported on that there were shakeups happening within Bungie, moving Marathon further away from the type of game that Destiny fans would be familiar with. You see, there was a lot of corporate drama that went down in 2023, seemingly within Bungie. And I mean, shocker, there's all sorts of drama within the executive suite at Bungie. But basically, long story short, there was a guy named Christopher Barrett who was the game director on Marathon. Prior to this point, he led it through the early stages of development and got it to this point where they revealed it. Something happened. He was moved out of that position as game director, moved into the position of executive creative director on like the franchise. And then a different guy, Joe Ziegler, was welcomed in as the new game director. Joe Ziegler is of Valorant fame. He was the game director through that game's development.
Oh boy.
And is credited.
Dude, okay, listen. Valorant was a good game at one point, and then it literally became a footy breeding ground, effectively. You can get banned on Valorant now for refusing to roleplay as a persona in a ranked match nowadays, okay? Valorant is dead. And the thing about Valorant is obviously, I'm not giving any of these people fucking credit for Valorant. Everyone who made this, who fucking cares? I could have made Valorant. Valorant is literally Counter-Strike. It's just a reskinned Counter-Strike. I could have done the fucking same thing solo. I could have made this game with enough resources on my goddamn own, and so could have you. Everyone could have done this, because this is literally Counter-Strike, but it has an ability that, well, it has 15 flavors of smoke grenade, effectively. But that's pretty much it. That's this game. That's how it works.
With basically building that out into the success that it became. So they found a guy that made a very successful live service game for Riot and hired him over to work on this. But because he came from Valorant, his
Also, Valorant came out in a time when Riot Games was really riding the high. League of Legends was still at a high, and well, not on a super high point, but at least a high point. They were making a bunch of games. League of Legends, effectively at that point, was the new Blizzard. They could not do wrong. They fucking let shit cook for as long as they needed to make good games. And, you know, so Valorant being a success at that time means literally nothing. If Riot Games released a game about coloring poop, it would have been a success.
Expertise and passion was behind like hero based design for shooters and having abilities tied to each hero archetype. And the nice thing about heroes is that a lot of the time you can sell them for like 10 bucks a pop or 20 bucks a pop or as a battle pass unlock or something like that. So it was very convenient for Bungie. So they brought in Joe Ziegler. He apparently reworked the entire game because the initial design for Marathon was much closer to a Tarkov or another extraction shooter like Exoborn
That sounds so better, honestly.
or something like that, where it's based around just a guy or a player character, and then you customize them with all sorts of different attachments and stuff to give them unique abilities. Whereas Marathon now
That sounds good.
was going to be tied around runners, each of which would have a basic archetype of being a stealth focused character or a melee focused character or a speed based character, etc. And then you could customize them to a lesser extent with the loot you found in match to match. But once again, this was sort of polarizing within the Bungie community because they viewed Valorant as a
Wait, how fucking autistic this design is. I saw this for the first time. I refrained myself from starting a Yapathon, okay? Where is it? Come on, let me click on it. You see this? We already saw this at the start here somewhere. So somewhere here we saw it. I already contained myself. Inside I was fucking screaming. Okay? I'm not gonna contain a Yapathon again. Okay, listen. What the hell is this autistic garbage dribble? So, an enemy that makes a shield that's transparent, but there's for some reason like a giant slit so you can shoot its face. The fuck is this? Dude, if this is gonna be how you design shit, it's a failure. Okay, because if you break this down on, you know, part by part, I don't know how to phrase this properly, honestly, but if you break this down to its core basis, you have an absolute failure of design, okay? So, you want a tanky enemy that requires some form of maneuvering tactics to take down. So, you're effectively giving them a shield because of that. You want something that cannot be just blasted down, so that's why you gave it a shield, okay? That's fine. But since it has a shield and the shield cannot be damaged or requires a lot of shots to be taken down or something, you need a workaround for it. And since the game has no movement, literally zero movement, there's no way to actually counter a shield like this. So, you can't just move around the enemy because you don't have the tools. So, the shield is effectively overpowered. So, you need to now nerf the shield because your game doesn't have ways by default to actually deal with enemies like this. You have no weapons that cancel the shield. You have no movement that can get you around the shield. The shield is so long you can't aim at the feet. And so they decided, okay, let's just make a giant slit here for no fucking reason so that people can shoot the head. I honestly don't even know how many objective failures of design stuff like this is. I don't want Matahton. I just look at this alone and I'm instantaneously, fuck Matahton. This game is garbage. Like, when you fail this absolutely hard, Dragon Age Veilguard is honestly probably a better designed fucking game than this. This is insane. If this is how you make games, like, bro, you're idiots. These people are complete morons. This is insane. This is the worst design I have ever seen in a game.
Sort of polarizing within the Bungie community because they viewed Valorant as a very good.
And by the way, the fucking clutter, the absolute amount of clutter that we have here. What is this? Okay, so you have this neon green-ish type of shit. The shields
Once again,
the shield's blue.
this was
Start shooting, the shield starts sparkling, lightning effects, becomes
sort of
red.
polarizing with
Then it becomes more red and white, and then it explodes, and then it's like, I'm sorry, are you trying to fit the whole fucking rainbow in this, or what are you exactly doing? Oh my god. This game is just ass.
Bungie community, because they viewed Valorant as a very good game, but not the type of game that they expected from Bungie. And so bringing on the game director from Valorant over to rework Marathon in his image, effectively, it was just a surprising pivot. In other words, they weren't super stoked about the game from the outset. They didn't love the idea of Marathon. And then it seemed like this was a move to shift Marathon even further away from the Destiny 2 player base, at least the types of games that they would traditionally like. But this was perhaps part of the strategy. You see, Destiny 2 was reaching the end of its life cycle when PlayStation bought Bungie for $3.7 billion. So PlayStation knew that Destiny 2, while very successful and big game, was reaching a later stage in its life cycle. It was going to start seeing players drop off and revenue start to drop, so they needed something new and fresh. And instead of just doing a Destiny 3 or something, they wanted to ignite
Yeah, instead of doing another Lightfall with, gay storylines.
a new, more energetic, fresh idea, like an extraction shooter on console. And something I've heard from numerous people that are working on Marathon as we speak, and other content creators and people at the event I went to earlier this year, a lot of them seem to view extraction shooters as the next big thing in FPS live service games. I mean, maybe I'm just...
That's so insane. We already have Tarkov. Right? We still have Tarkov. I'm not sure I don't play Tarkov. But Tarkov is still the big dog, ain't it? And we have Arc Raiders coming up. Dude, this... the games industry is full of idiots where you just have this... I can, by the way, I have seen this in real life, okay? I have seen this. Because, let me explain how every industry works. You have giant firms, and one firm decides to do something. And there's usually a reason for that decision. And sometimes that decision is just the top honchos wanted to do it. And sometimes that decision is, oh, we did an analysis on what players want, and turns out they want more gay storylines. There you go. There you go. Very cool. And they just decide to pivot to doing one thing. And then other companies that are also slop, that are losing money because all of their games are shit, are seeing, whoa, this company that's literally like us and as bad as us is now just going all in into this genre for some reason, and they're like not even looking back. And the CEO has friends and dad, and they're talking a little bit, and they're saying, oh yeah, we're gonna do it. And everyone just decides to do it, because then more people do it, more people get interested, they talk to other people at the top, and so everyone just kind of decides to, oh, this sounds good, we're gonna try it. And then you have more self-enforcement about the fact that the idea is good because everyone's doing it, and then suddenly the whole industry is pivoting in the direction of this random fucking bullshit because a couple of people at the top don't know what to do, and they just decide, yeah, this is going to be the thing that we want to do, and then people started talking about it. I have seen this happen in companies, by the way. Secluded companies that have no real impact on the outside thing, and not gaming companies. But gaming companies have no reason to be different in fundamentally how things happen, how social conduct happens. So, yeah, if there is a pivot to Tarkov-style bullshit, that's because just people started talking amongst each other, and then they're like, oh, everyone's doing this, must be good. The games industry has been... Shit, I don't remember any of these, but we have been through a couple of phases like this. That... This is kind of a cheap one to mention it as an example, but the MMORPG phase when everyone wanted to be World of Warcraft. Then that died down, then it came back again, and everyone wanted to be World of Warcraft again. After that, it was Dark Souls-esque type of things. Anywhere where just suddenly market springs to life, gaming companies that are desperate are going to be like, that's the thing that we're doing. without knowing anything and all of that stuff. And, you know, a lot of stuff like this. And now it's just seemingly the extraction shooter's pot, if we believe what Luke says. I, by the way, do not doubt that he actually has some kind of connections there, that he does know a little bit of people. Not a lot. I think he does lie a lot about these connections. But, you know, I think there is some.
Out of the loop, but that seems so genuinely shocking to me. It's bizarre. Like, I do not see how a guy who's like working a blue collar job and like just gets home from a long day's work, wants to drink a beer and play some games. Like, I get how he could play Call of Duty for an hour or two and then move on, or a battle royale for a few rounds and then move on, or a few matches of Marvel Rivals and move on. Like, I get that. I don't know if the casual gamer like that is going to connect with a hardcore extraction shooter where hours and hours and hours of progress can literally be wiped out in a single death because you got sniped from across the map or because your teammates sucked in that random pairing. I understand some people love.
Yes, the casual gamer will never play anything but slop. That's not true. Can we please stop talking about this stuff? Also, am I gonna use this as a thumbnail? I mean, look at Luke's face. This is gonna sell like fucking hotcakes. Look at how confident and oh boy, bruh. Okay, saved. Okay, saved.
That and love that concept that it's always super, super high stakes. But I also think that that is, by its very nature, going to appeal to a more hardcore audience. And I think the magic of battle royales like Warzone or Fortnite or other live service archetype games like the hero-based shooters, whether it's Overwatch or something like Marvel Rivals, is that it's really easy to pop in and it's really easy to get into whether you are a hardcore player or a casual player just looking for some light fun. Extraction shooters, by their very nature, are...
By the way, this is such insane elitism. I get the idea. If you have a real life five wives, 3 stepchildren, 5 adopted children, three dads, and 2.5 moms, that you don't have a lot of time to spend, and so you are probably not necessarily going to be looking for something that's hardcore. But that doesn't mean that people are not going to be playing something more than just, you know, Zoomer slop. If most people don't have a lot of time, okay, to spend at gaming and stuff like that. The average person is not a failed McDonald's employee. Okay, the average person is a decent normal person. So yeah, normal people have less time than a full day to game. They have obligations outside of work. They have work and all of this stuff, but that doesn't mean that they are so fucking stupid that they can only play slop. No, some of them are gonna play Dark Souls. Some of them are gonna play. I don't actually know a super in-depth, super hard game to play that, you know, requires a huge learning curve. I guess Lost Ark is my usual go-to when it comes to hard games. I mean, you know, and still, some of them are gonna play even fucking Lost Ark as a casual level, and Lost Ark is supposed to be a second job, or a primary job if we're being honest. You know? But just doing the dailies in Lost Ark when I was still playing, it took me 2 fucking hours to complete on 6 characters and whatnot. Jesus, not to mention the fucking raids. God damn, boy, the raids were something else. So yeah, the casual player probably is gonna play something more casual typically, but they're gonna easily just go and fucking pick up something harder, something more in depth, something more intense. That's just how it works. I am tired of this idea that the average person, the average gamer, is a fucking idiot or whatever. I hate when people say that stuff, honestly. It's not true. Like, why are you treating gamers so poorly when you say, no gamers are gonna play casual shit, my fucking Pony Island adventures? Yeah, well, that's a better game than World of Warcraft. It is what it is. Anyway, that was Luke Steffens. I do not... Wait. He's just... Wait, what is this? The beginnings of Marathon, the private playtest, which failed, art theft, the delay, and then the last 2 minutes are Sony's plan to save Marathon? Bro, Luke's clickbaiting is good though. You gotta give him that. Anyway, that was Luke Steffens, 10 out of 10. Bye.